Trying to channel my inner Prince Goro, like smashing stuff. What's going on, y'all? Paul the Barbarian here. Took a minute. I gathered up some weapons from a couple of buddies, and we're going to take a look at some single-handed weapons and use some melee, a couple of them for singles. We're going to take a look at the falchion, the arming sword, the ever-useful axe, and the humble mace. I'm going to smash some stuff, we're going to talk about some things, we're going to have a good time. Okay, start off with the arming sword. This is made by Age of Craft. They're pretty okay swords. I wouldn't expect them to last super long. The blade is in good shape. Buddy Greg Fabic uses this a bunch. He likes doing sword and board. This is usually what you would use for a sword and board match. Fighting, this is about points, this is about dexterity, this is about throwing that slot, throwing the cross, all kinds of different stuff. It's light, it doesn't have an end, it's not end heavy in any way, shape, or form. It does have that nice counterweight of a pommel. So, sword-wise, in a melee, not exactly the best play. You can use it, it's more so of a thing to throw, like not even really throw blows. This is a use in grapples and such like that, but now that we can't grab a hold of the blade, less so. This is more of a, let's go and make points, hit as fast as humanly possible, hit as many times as humanly possible. But I do have a piece of armor, it's probably, I don't know, 16 gauge mild steel. I got some packing in there to take up a little bit of the weight, and I got my little table here. This is actually set up 24 inches, 26 inches. It's about what the proposed idea for the HMB top of the list rail. This is kind of what they want. I figure if you ever put your hand up there, you ever put your arm up on top of the rail, think about what you're doing. You're actually making an anvil with your body part. Putting it there, there's no way for the force to go otherwise. If I get hit out here in the open, my arm moves away and bleeds off a lot of the force. So I'm just going to give this a nice little hit. I'm not going to try and bust up Greg's sword. This isn't really for doing damage, but we'll see what it does. So I also do this with gauntlets on, just because that's how I normally swing stuff. I have gauntlet on most of the time, so we'll see what goes. I mean, it's still dented. I don't know how, I gotta go get a marker and circle that so we can look at the other ones, but I mean, that wasn't with all my ass. That didn't hurt the sword in any way, shape, or form. This thing's actually pretty tough, but realistically this is for using in singles, not really doing in melees. You're not really gonna do a whole lot of force to it. And I mean, they're fun. Who cares? Let's move on to the falchion. Now, you see how this falchion is shaped and how these things were made. These came about because they wanted to have a sword, but they wanted to have the hitting power of an axe. That's what this big piece of steel up here in the middle of that is. You want to be hitting right in that. You want to be delivering with all of that weight going in a straight line going across the blade. And this is what you can really chop and do some work with. Now, a lot of people are running falchion and buckler, falchion and punch shield and melees and such like that. There's a lot of people doing falchion and punch shield or buckler for pro fights. I mean, these are actually pretty good. This is made by BKS. Pretty solid sword. The D-ring not really allowed anymore. This is an older build. They do make great stuff though. So I haven't really futzed with this at all. We're just gonna hit it and see how it goes. I'll give it probably, I don't know, 60% or something like that. I like seeing what it does. It's a fun time. I hit it more towards the shape side, but I get the right there. There was a curl in this. That was a stronger area for your wrists and such like that. I'm just demolishing it, just making it matter not. So, falchions. Falchions are good. They also slide out from under your armor. If you get in a grapple and get stupid with somebody, they slide out. You can pull them out and get away from them and stuff like that. I like falchions. Falchions are good. You can get good centrifugal force off of them. You can get good swings. Chop it. I love hitting the hips. I love hitting the legs and the arms with these things. You can go to the collarbone a little bit. You can be a little bit more dexterous with this. It's a great weapon. Lots of people use them. Obviously, yeah. It's just deformed. It's just it was a nice forearm piece for doing rattan sticks. Not really gonna hold up in steel. Don't use mild for steel armor. Don't use mild steel stuff. This is a little shoulder plot that I found while going through some stuff. We'll take a look at it. I like smashing things. Who doesn't? Now we go to the single-handed axe. Single-handed axes are great. We use a lot of them. They're cheap. They're easy to find. We've got lots of them. This is a little bit far of a bill hook there. It's a little far off of the shaft. This is the axe that I fought Poland, Denmark, Prague, every national tournament. This has been my sidearm, or it's been my primary. This was made by BKS when I first started the sport, and it's been running. It doesn't care, it just hits things. And that's kind of what I want an axe to do. These are really good in melees. I haven't seen a whole lot of single axe and shield fights. I do have this nice little lanyard here. When I'm fighting, it's actually pretty nice because sometimes you just lose a hold of it, you can grab up on it, and keeps you in hand. So, axes, they're really good at hitting, they're really good at swinging. We're going to look at a little bit more of the anatomy here in a minute. Let's see what it does to this. I mean, all these things are bent to a certain degree. I'm going to hit right up in here in this big plate, and we'll see what goes. Smash! I'm really not hitting these things with a lot of force. Still 16 gauge mild steel. It looked like that. That's what I did. It's just a thing saying, hey, don't use mild steel. So, I'm also anviling a little bit. These are all sitting straight on a bare spot. So, nifty thing about axes. When you get an axe, you see this triangle here? You see that triangle as it goes up? I'd rather it be all the way up here and then go to the shaft. When you have these really round and they come out straight off of the plate, the force actually transfers that way instead of straight ahead. That way, instead of straight ahead, the force is actually being distributed. It's curling out a little bit more. This little triangle does the work. But that's usually what you find in most chopping axes, most axes that you cut firewood with or anything else like that. You see that noticeable triangle. When we look at the two-handers, I have some axes that are examples of one and examples of another one. But hand axes are always fun. They're good for a hook. They get in there. They're also bad for a hook when you're trying to get out of something and they're caught. And you're like, oh, I just have to drop it and go find something else to go fight with. Great sidearm, great primary for fighting in melees, running a little hand axe and a shield. You can do real work with it. We come to the humble mace. Maces are great. They've been used for a really long time. Clubs, first weapons. The rock, heavy thing, smash your head in. That's a heavy thing, smash your head in. Mace is not exactly the best use in our sport, not exactly the most amount of damage you can do with the weapon. They're really good sidearms. They just slide into a belt loop and you can pull them out really easy. You don't get really caught on a lot. You can pull them out usually from a grapple and get away from them. I just don't use them because they don't do enough for me. They don't have enough dynamics to it. If you hit a guy in a helmet with these things, it's not going to do a lot. There's a reason why we do that, safety and all that such. But same time, maces are great, fun. Let's club a thing. I'll club it down here. I'll try and hit two plates. A little bit of a flange in there. We'll just see what goes. Well, I mean, it still smashed. It still smashed the shit out of a mild plate, but at the same time, that was very small plates right there, and that's where I hit. That's where I hit. So, I mean, realistically, not the best thing. Maces are fun. They're good little weapons to have on the sidearm. I usually just throw this in a belt. I think I got this from, this is probably like something I found, Agecraft or something like that. Somebody bought it and I picked it up off of them. I used it for a pommel for a while, and then I made it into a mace head because I like little mace heads. So, maces, a fun time, a good thing to swing about with. Not exactly my cup of tea for fighting in the sport. Let's talk about something real quick. When we're swinging things and we're swinging one-handed weapons and such, I have the arming sword here. When I usually do a grip, it's like that. These two, my index and my thumb, are usually the hardest holding things, and as I throw the blow, I close my hand. It brings that turn in. You can deliver a little bit more force, you can deliver a little bit more speed to your blow. That's usually when I hit people, I'm closing my hand at the same time when I swing. Just a thing to think about, the C grip, the OK grip. You start here and then you close as you snap. I mean, you saw how much it moves just by me closing my hand. So just something to think about. think about it, work about it, work it into some of your things. I do a couple of different practices where I snatch things and I grab them with the bottom 2 fingers of my hand. You do like ball crushes where you take a tennis ball and you crush them. Get hand strength, finger strength. You want to be able to have that dexterity and that strength at the same time while doing a couple minute round fights. Just thoughts, ideas. I like smashing stuff, and next episode of this is going to be some fun weapons, goon weapons. That's kind of how I refer to them. But keep an eye on the channel, keep an eye out for all kinds of stuff going on. I've got some nifty things coming down the pipe. We've got lots more weapons to look at. I'm going to be heading up to Rookie Rumble this weekend. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see everybody there. If you're not, I'll see you when I see you. Y'all be easy, be safe, but get vicious or get the fuck out.